I solemnly swear I will not make any obvious Yuri on Ice jokes in this or any future Hakuto reviews that involve figure skating. Quite frankly, I think anime has infected real-world figure skating too much as is. For this episode, Homari gets a bit of a blast from the past. The boy from last week turns out to be an old friend named Henri, who was also a prodigy figure skater. And of course, he was a stereotypical pre-boy skater. Seriously, this sport needs to allow more sumo wrestlers in. Next thing you know, he's gonna dress up in some stereotypically flamboyant skating clothes. Excuse me a minute. Seriously, that dead expression on Saya says it all. But yeah, as it turns out, this dude's kind of obnoxious, and he was trying to take Homari with him to train, as the next figure skating season was approaching, and he believed her friends were holding her back from regaining her true potential. That night, Hana gave Homari a call on the pre-heart, and I just realized that transformation trinket slash smartphone is huge, like bigger than a phablet.
Check it out! I got the new iPhone 8!
Big whoop! I just got the new iPhone 9!
Anyway, Homari was just finishing up a practice session with her coach from the previous episodes, and it didn't go so well. Regardless, she was still willing to meet up the next day and hang out with Hana and the others. Meanwhile, at Kurayasu, Purple was planning her next move using data from her outdated printer. Seriously, this lady must be really stuck in the past if she's willing to use such an obsolete piece of office equipment. Then again, judging by the way she looks at a mysterious man on the balcony, perhaps the idea of stopping time isn't just her company's goal, but also her own desire. The next day, the Precure were enjoying their little play date, which included them turning into 3 dotting mothers while looking at Hagutan walk for the first time. However, unbeknownst to them, a certain pre-boy stalker was lurking in the shadows. Seriously, why did they have to make him look like such a blatant creeper throughout this episode? Anyway, once Homari was alone, he once again tried to talk her into coming with him. Hana stumbles upon them and blurts out her disapproval of her friend leaving. Now, we've seen this sort of scene many times before in Precure. A Precure is about to leave the team and one or more of her teammates, including the leader, tells her they don't want her to go, thereby putting her in a position where leaving is really hard.
Good luck to you, Miyako. I know you'll get into a good college. Well, Miyako, how am I supposed to go back now?
It's kind of a jerk-ass thing for the heroines to do. However, the way this show does it is much better in my opinion. First of all, it's clear that Hana only said that stuff because she was caught up in the moment and wasn't exactly thinking clearly. And even then, she did apologize for interrupting their conversation. Second, unlike other examples, she was somewhat rightfully called out for actually putting more pressure on Homari through just her cheering her on. It is kind of irresponsible to cheer on someone who's struggling to even figure out what they actually want to do with themselves. Granted, Henri has no right to say this considering the pressure he's been putting on Homari has been far worse, but he does have somewhat of a point. It's well done, and an effective way of actually analyzing the flaws in our main character's philosophy. And we're not even in the double digits for this show yet, so good job there, Hakuto. Homari does end up giving her answer, but it turns out to be something neither side was really expecting. She took them all to an ice rink to show off her skills that she acquired by spending time with her new friends. She also asked for a little encouragement from Hana, which was cute. In the end, she puts on a really nice, well-animated performance, which again, I'm not gonna make any obvious jokes about and just say I liked it. And even though she does fail at her first jump, she's able to stand up again and perform it properly a second time around. Henri is left speechless and clearly defeated. Just in time too, as the Precure had to go out and defeat an Oshimaida next. As it turns out, Purple actually managed to create one using all of the road rage from people stuck in a traffic jam. I hope Kurayasu doesn't have branch offices in LA or New York. They'd be able to make full-on kaiju with their traffic jams. Though, that also might mean that we'd get a better Pacific Rim sequel out of it. While the fight quality this week turns out to be fairly average, it's still not bad, and does involve a fairly clever application of Saya's shield with Homari using it as a trampoline. It of course also leads to the creation of Homari's second Mirai crystal, which helps in defeating the monster. Afterwards, Hana volunteers to take Homari's dog for a walk, and appears to run into the guy Purple was with earlier. $10 says that's the final boss of the series. I mean, he's tall, lanky, and talks really mysteriously. He pretty much checks off all the requirements for your average final boss. However, the episode ends with the Precure needing to worry about a much more immediate threat, or rather annoyance, as Henri had transferred into their school. Oh, and he also managed to deduce Homari's secret identity based off of her jump from earlier. Hakuto Precure continues to excel in the character development department, not just with our main heroines, but also kind of with the villains. A lot more already than, say, a certain villain group I reviewed recently. For our heroines, both Hana and Homari managed to get some good development. Yeah, it was still ultimately a Homari episode with her starting to overcome her trauma. She still wasn't fully over it, as she did mess up that first jump, but she was on the road to recovery. And while Hana did take a backseat in this episode, thankfully not overshadowing her friend, she did receive some good development when she was forced to reflect on how much her cheering on people was actually helping them in the end. It's some good introspection for the character that I hope gets brought up again. Meanwhile, the motivations for our villains were starting to shape up as well. Not much yet, but I can safely say I'm interested in seeing where they'll take Purple's character as well as the mysterious man. Only real downside to this episode, besides Henri, was the subpar animation during the fight scene. Purple looks like she's stuck in these 2 frames of animation, but I get the feeling that much of the production was allocated to the figure skating and this beautiful sunset scene. If that's the case, I would say it was a necessary sacrifice. Sorry to say, I'm going to have to delay next week's review yet again. I'm going to have a really busy Easter weekend as my sister's getting married and I'm the best man. Still, I will try to get the review out as soon as I can, either the Tuesday or Wednesday after. For the time being though, you can check out the final part of my sweet Precure review. It's my lengthiest video to date, with a special announcement for my next major review at the end. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and I've got a few bachelor parties to go to.